Hello everyone. Today I've got 3 fantastic anthologies for you to check out. The thing I really love about anthologies is that you just get so much bang for the buck. You know, you got all these authors, and these might be authors you never heard of before. These are all single author anthologies. But this not only helps you discover new authors if you like these short little stories and you can read their full-length work, but you've also got all these weird, fantastic, easy to read, quick, fast-paced little stories that really let you know what these authors are capable of, and it's really a delight. Plus, anthologies, you know, you can read 1 story or maybe 2 stories, so if you don't have a lot of time, you can pace it out without worrying about losing your place like you can in a full-length novel. I've always been a fan of anthologies, and these ones certainly hit their mark. These are 3 I've recently read that just did it for me, you know, and I think you'll want to read them also. But before we get started, I want to remind you that I have books for sale, and you can find the books you see on your screen. Those are my 3 horror books. 2 of them are anthologies as well, and they are only $1 each at the link in the description. So check those out if you're interested. All right, let's get started. All right, so the first anthology I want to tell you about today, this one just released on the 13th of this month, and it's called The Dark Routes by T. Thornton Gray. The thing I loved about this anthology was a lot of times people talk about the ending of stories or the ending of a book, but not enough attention sometimes is paid to the beginning. And the thing that really struck me about this anthology, besides the fact that the stories are so awesomely creepy, is that he starts out each story in a way that just draws your attention. You know, he has a way of bringing that first paragraph, putting it right there in front of you and making you want to read more. So every time you finish one of these, I was very interested in getting to the next one, and I'd read the first couple lines and go, now I got to keep reading to find out what's going on with these people now, because the last one freaked me out a little bit. And there are a number of stories in here, 20 I believe, that are just all very, some of them are weird, some of them are creepy, some of them are very in your face and bloody. And there's a plethora of stories in here, different varieties, different kinds of horror and speculative fiction. So there's something in here for everybody, as in the rest of these anthologies. There's one story in here about a boy. He loses his best friend in one of those ball pits, like at one of those fast food restaurants, the little kids' playgrounds. They always have the ball pit. One day his friend goes in, dies under, and never comes back. So I thought that was a really good premise for a horror story, because those things can be kind of horrific anyway, you know. Then there's another one about 2 boys. They were on vacation with their families in Jamaica. And one day they decide to go wandering, they get a little lost, they go into the city by themselves, and they're going to encounter something pretty evil, something that they weren't expecting, and it's going to be very, very terrifying when they discover this thing kind of off the beaten path in this Jamaican vacation town there. Oh, and there's also a bus ride from hell you're going to read about. A bus driver who finds out that this might be his last ever ride because of what's happening on his bus. And there are like 20, like I said, there were like 20 stories in here. And each one will take you to a different place. Each one will give you a different scenario. And like I said, the beginnings of these stories, they just grab your attention, makes you want to keep reading. And then the payoff is right there, and it's just fantastic. I can't say enough good things about this anthology. And of course, there is a link down below where you can purchase your copy through Amazon, The Dark Routes, and I highly recommend it. And next we have an anthology that came out in 2016, but this is like my 3rd time reading it. I actually read it when it first released in 2016, and now I finally get the chance to talk about it. and that is called The Mixtape Special Edition by Kenya Moss Dime. I've read some of her other books as well. They're always enjoyable. And if you never heard of her before, I think this is the perfect place to start, because these stories represent, and I believe one of these stories in here was like the first one she wrote that was actually ever published. So this is a collection of some of her best short horror stories that have been in different publications and magazines throughout the years. And this is a fantastic place to get to know Kenya Moss Dime, because she writes about characters that you are familiar with. They're in situations that you're familiar with, that you're aware of. It makes it feel right at home with these characters, you know, as you're reading. And then she puts her own really horrifying twist on these tales that makes them even more horrible than what they are. Some of the stories in here, one of them is about a woman who lets her sister move in with her and her husband, and then she finds out that her husband and her sister are having an affair behind her back. Well, she decides she's going to take care of that in her own special way, but unbeknownst to her, her sister and her husband also had planned to take care of her in their own special way, and that story is not going to end well for anybody. Trust me, and there's a good amount of tension in this one. As they're all trying to pretend like everything's okay, but in the back of each of their minds they have something horrible planned for the others. That one is fantastic. There's another story in here about a boy who only eats peanut butter. And for some reason, he will not eat his mother's food. He will not drink anything his mother prepares, because he thinks that his mother is trying to poison and kill him. And so she gives him a lunch to go to school, but he throws it away. This concerns the teachers because he's getting skinny. He's not eating anything. She won't make him his peanut butter, which he really loves. And if that's the truth, if this is what's happening and his mother is trying to poison him, that's horrible enough. But when you find out what's really going on, that's even more terrifying. Again, like most of the stories in here, it takes kind of a twisty, unexpected turn at the end, and you're not going to believe where this one winds up. And then there's another one about a man who gets off on hearing the crunching of bones beneath his vehicle tires. So basically he's a serial killer or a slasher, and he uses his vehicle to do his killing. He starts out with a motorbike and just some small animals running down, squirrels and chipmunks that he sees, you know, just to hear their bones crack. But then he quickly escalates and moves to a car and bigger prey, let's put it that way. But unbeknownst to him, somebody he's close to and loves knows about his little secret, and one day they're going to confront him about it. And what is going to happen then? Well, you're going to have to read to find out, but that one's going to get pretty grim as well. Yeah, and there's other stories in there too, but I don't want to tell you about all of them, because there are pleasant surprises inside. Pleasant, horrific surprises, and that's what we all love. So yeah, if you've never heard of this author, if you've never heard of this book, I highly recommend it. Again, there's a link down below where you can pick up your copy through Amazon, and you definitely, absolutely should. This is a fantastic one, and after you're done with this one, go pick up the rest of her works, because they're all just as fantastic. And next we have, this one came as a big shock, a big surprise for me when I read it, Amella's Current of Unmindfulness. Now the thing about this anthology is that this author's writing style is eclectic, I guess you can say, in a very, very good way. I mean, the way he writes just draws you in. His writing style makes you want to pay attention to what he's writing. And these are some very, very terrifying, gripping, and compelling stories that you will want to read. There's some weird fiction in here. There's some speculative fiction in here. There's straight-on horror fiction in here. This one definitely has everything. And it's one of the best anthologies I've read all year, actually. That's how good it actually is. And what I like about it is in the middle of all this is delicious weirdness that he manages to convey with his words. And right in the middle of that book, he throws in a 100% slasher story, like out of nowhere. And it's an excellent slasher story too. something that would rival Jason or Freddy or Michael Myers, you know. I could actually see it playing out in my head like a horror movie, and I'm like, yes, I would watch that slasher movie. That's how good this story was. And it kind of came out of nowhere because the rest of his stories are less like that. They're still creepy. They're still compelling. They're still very good and ones that you want to read. But he just throws in this throwback slasher out of nowhere, and I, for one, really, really appreciated that. This is one of those books that, you know, you think, well, I never heard of this book. I never heard of the author. I don't know if I want to take a chance, but trust me, that's what I'm here for. You want to buy this one because it's just that good. I can't say enough good things about it. I loved every story in here, and I think you will as well. Amilla's Currents of Unmindfulness. And again, as always, you can pick up your copy at Amazon at the link in the description. So there you have 3 fantastic horror anthologies for your Halloween season. Each of these has stories that are going to chill your blood. They're going to make you think. They're going to raise the hackles on your head. They're going to get your heart pumping. And they're going to do so in a short amount of time. So they're perfect to read whenever you just have a few minutes. One story here, one story here. And you'll be glad that you did. And as always, I want to say thank you for taking some of your time and spending it here with me. And until we meet again, keep reading spooky, my friends.